As far as controllers go, Xbox, PlayStation type controllers, nothing wrong with those at all. But you know, you're not going to get an ultimate sense of realism out of them. So you should consider other things. And that's the next topic here. So if you want to try and actually increase the level of realism, or immersion is the term that's used in sim racing, you may want to think about a dedicated wheel and pedal set. I'll show you a picture of a pretty standard wheel and pedal set here today, kind of an entry level. Having a wheel and pedal set to play Simcade type games like Forza and Gran Turismo, for example, can definitely increase your level of realism or immersion for sure over a controller. And those wheels and pedals come in a lot of different shapes, sizes, and cost depending upon what you're trying to do. There are inexpensive, basically Chinese type clone wheels out there that can definitely be better than a controller. Maybe you're a young person and you're just kind of getting started, don't have a lot of budget. That's cool, use those. It'll probably be better than a controller. I don't know. If you got a little more scratch that you can spend, then of course you can go up to various entry-level options from, I'll just use Logitech and Thrustmaster as the examples because those tend to be the two companies that have good entry-level sort of stuff available. Or you can also go completely nuts with wheels and pedals. To be honest with you, it's pretty easy to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on wheels and pedals. It really all just sort of depends on what exactly you're looking to do, and that's why I suggested in the earlier video that you spend a little time and think, if you think through what exactly you're looking for out of this rig, because I'm not even going to gloss this over, folks. I mean, it can be a fairly expensive hobby, like any other hobby, photography or golf, or maybe you're into sports cars or restoring hot rods, things like that. All those things are expensive. True full-on simulation racing is also expensive. There's no other way for me to say it. So the trick to this is, if you can, is to try and think through before you do it where you believe you're going to end up. If possible, if you can predict, have a real honest conversation with yourself and try and predict, okay, how hardcore am I going to be into this? You can probably end up saving yourself a bunch of money if you just go kind of a little higher end on your components in the beginning, which in fact is what I've done. I don't ever see myself being a pro-level iRacing, top-of-the-line guy. Maybe I'll get there, I don't know. But I will say this, I certainly don't have time to spend 30, 40 hours a week trying to get good at it. I might have 10, right? Which is a lot more than some people might have. But I don't ever see myself being a full-time competitive racing simulator driver. But I'm serious enough about it that I like to have equipment that won't let me down in terms of reliability. And generally, if I go to make a turn and I want to turn this much, that my vehicle in the game will turn exactly that much. I personally find that the higher end equipment offers a level of precision that the lower end stuff doesn't. Okay. One last thing to note here, as far as kind of basic thoughts related to wheels and pedals, is make sure that you select a wheel and pedal combination that will actually work with your platform. Not every wheel and pedal set is compatible with Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Some are only compatible with Xbox, some are only compatible with PlayStation, some are only compatible with PC, and neither of the two game consoles And then there are some that are potentially suitable for both a game console, one of the two, for example, PlayStation and PC. You do have that as an option. You also have some that are suitable for Xbox and PC. Not all that often will you find one that is suitable for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Unfortunately, the Xbox and particularly PlayStation stuff does have pretty significant licensing costs. So in order for you to get something that's licensed for PlayStation in particular, they're generally going to be more expensive because the company has to recoup their licensing costs to Sony. In any case, let's take a look at some basic wheel and pedal combinations. I'll show you some pictures in line here. You have some options when it comes to your wheel and pedal combination. The most basic level of wheel and pedals are things, for example, like a Logitech G29 wheel and pedal set, and also, for example, a Thrustmaster T150. Those are two pretty entry-level type wheels. They're perfectly fine, nothing wrong with them at all. They are entry-level. They tend to be gear-driven, a little noisier, a little lower force feedback than some of the mid-range and high-end type of options. And your mounting options are a little different too. I'll show you in the picture here. The most common sort of entry point for a basic wheel and pedal set is actually just one that clamps onto the table. It literally has a clamp that's included with it, and it literally, the wheel and the wheelbase itself clamps up onto the desk or the table that you're using to steady it on, and the pedal set just goes on the floor right underneath your desk or couch or coffee table, whatever, and you can literally play on your couch. I've done it. Thousands, maybe millions of people have done it. It works. It's fine. Is it the best way to do it? Not for me personally, no. Not to be really serious about it. I doubt it. But, you know, to be fair, I have seen a number of videos from people that I respect on YouTube, and sometimes their setups are pretty darn basic. So, you know, I'm by no means running any of those folks under here. I mean, if that's what you got, use it. The main thing is that you're having fun, okay? I'm just pointing out that there are some stability differences between mounting your table and pedals on your current desk and on a slick floor, as opposed to maybe mounting a similar set of wheels and pedals on the other options that are available. So we'll kind of go through that. Typically for something like those, like a Logitech G29, Thrustmaster T150 and similar, depending on what options you choose, what platforms, like we just talked about, PlayStation stuff may cost a little more than Xbox because there's licensing fees. You can expect to pay somewhere between $100 and $300 for brand new stuff, either Logitech G29 or Thrustmaster T150 type level of equipment. You can expect to pay somewhere around $300, give or take. You know, things go on sale all the time. You can also find it frequently on eBay or other auction sites, right? Which is, you know, maybe local on Craigslist or whatever it is that you use. But I do want to harken back to something that I said just a moment ago. Let's say that you go find a Logitech G29 wheel and pedal set, lightly used, on eBay, and you pay $175 for it. Okay, well that setup originally cost $300. So someone bought that for full retail, most likely, paid taxes for it and everything else. So let's say that they ended up at, I don't know, $325 out the door, give or take, for a Logitech G29 setup. Now they're selling it to you for $175. You got a great deal, right? That's awesome. More power to you. But that's my point from earlier. There's $150 in difference between what you bought it for used and what that person bought it for new. So think carefully before you start buying stuff about where you want to be, because frankly you will have just thrown away $150 and probably more than that by the time you pay eBay fees and PayPal and all that. You could have probably spent another $150 in the beginning there and not ever had to trade in the G29 as an example. And I'm not picking on the G29, I'm just using it as an example. So anyway, it's your life, your business, you do what you want. Me personally, I would rather go ahead and buy up a little bit so that I don't end up having to go and resell all this stuff later on. All right, so let's say that you've decided, maybe you've been playing for a little while and you've decided that you want to get a little more serious about it, and maybe the table that you're mounting your wheel to is not particularly steady and it's causing you some control issues, or maybe your pedal set is sliding across the floor, and that definitely does happen. You get serious into a corner, maybe you got some good competition going on trying to beat somebody out, and you go to stomp on the brakes and lo and behold your pedals shoot across the floor and then you're done, right? Or God forbid, you're trying to avoid a wreck and you give the steering wheel a good yank and it collapses part of your table. I mean, at that point your race is over, right? So a lot of people will choose to use what is referred to as a wheel stand rig. I will show you a picture here of some of a couple of the most common wheel stand rigs. There's plenty of them available, but they offer a number of advantages over the clamp style mounts to desks and floor. For example, the wheel stand, as you can see by its shape, typically is adjustable for height, so you can move the wheel up and down. You may also be able to move the wheel closer to or further away from you, as an example, on certain stands. You can even, for example, change the angle depending upon how tall you are relative to the stand. You may want to angle the wheel up just a little bit to give you a better feel, or down, I don't know. But the point is you have adjustability options that will more closely mimic the setup in an actual car. Okay, that's all. These wheel stand rigs also have one other big advantage, and I will be honest, I looked at it pretty hard at first. The big advantage of the wheel stand rig is usually that you can fold it up. These things, you can see, you've seen the picture there, right? They're frequently shaped kind of like this, and you can, in many cases, leave the wheel and pedals attached to that and literally fold it up and kind of set it off in the corner, which is great. If you've got a wife or a girlfriend or your mom or whatever, and you just can't leave this thing set up all the time in the middle of the living room with beer cans and bags of chips and cigarette butts laying around, stuff like that. Maybe you need to fold that thing up and get it out of the living space, right? But then when you want to sit down and have a little race, you can just pull it out of the corner, plug everything in, unfold the rig, and go. So there's definite advantages to it. The other big advantage to the wheel stand rig is that they're pretty inexpensive. You can get them as low as $80 or so if you don't mind a kind of no-name brand wheel stand from China, ranging up to $250 even for the pretty good ones. A couple of good companies, and I'm not sponsored by any of these folks. I'm just telling you, giving you some of the benefit of what I've already seen and reviewed and read about and things like that, and even what some friends of mine own. GT Omega makes an excellent little wheel stand product, as does Next Level Racing. The one drawback that I would caution you about if you're looking at a wheel stand rig is that they can definitely still have some flex. There will be far less flex usually than a desk and pedals on the floor, and certainly it'll be a superior experience to using a controller from your Xbox, but not all of these wheel stands are created equal. To me personally, it's my opinion, I would rather pay a little bit extra and make sure that I'm getting one from a good manufacturer like GT Omega or Next Level Racing, because both of those companies are known to make really solid, feature-packed wheel stands at good competitive prices that have minimal flex. there you go. To me, for my money, I would pay a little bit extra to get a good one, over buying some no-name brand from China. So.